If your company's heading into insolvency and you've got staff, this is probably keeping you awake at night. Will my staff get paid? Or are they going to be left stranded because the business has got no money left? And I get it, when you're a director, this is the bit that hits the hardest. You're already worried about the business, and now you've got people relying on you for unpaid wages, redundancy pay, holiday pay, and you've got no cash in the bank. Now here's the truth, if you get it wrong, it could blow up in your face and really damage your reputation, sometimes beyond repair. But you can get it right because there is a system in place that protects your employees and it protects you too. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens to employee wages, employee redundancy, notice pay, holiday pay, in insolvency, who pays them, what the limits are, and how the redundancy payment service actually works, and what you must do as a director. So if you're stressed about how to look after your team properly when your company's going through insolvency, this video is for you. Now, one of the biggest concerns of any director who's facing insolvency is likely employee wages. Will your team be paid what they're owed? Now, the short answer is, thankfully, staff can claim unpaid wages from the Redundancy Payment Service if the business goes through an insolvency process like an administration or a liquidation. They can also claim redundancy pay if they've been there over 2 years. I'll come to that a little later on. Notice pay and holiday pay. And what happens is, most businesses, when they become insolvent, they've not got enough money in the bank to pay, obviously, suppliers, HMRC, but many times they haven't got enough money to pay the redundancy entitlement of the staff. Yesterday I had a meeting with a business that's been going 40 years. They had around 15 staff, and it was actually the redundancy entitlement that's going to be the biggest creditor in the insolvency. Now the good news is if this is you, the Redundancy Payment Service will step in and make sure everybody's paid. So here's what they can claim. Your employees can claim unpaid wages for up to 8 weeks and they claim it from the RPS. Now there's a statutory cap, and as of today, this will be going out August 2025, they can claim up to £719 per week. Now, just so you're aware, let's say that your staff are owed their wages are more than £719 a week. They can still put a claim in, okay, separately in the liquidation. So let's say that they're on £1,500 a week. They get the 719 from the RPS. They can put in a claim for the other just shy of £700, but they're treated as an unsecured creditor. It's highly likely that they wouldn't get that paid out because they rank towards the bottom of who gets paid what, okay? Now, I know for people watching this, employee redundancy is probably one of your biggest concerns because the chances are all your staff who've been there over 2 years are entitled to redundancy, and you've probably not got enough cash in the bank to actually pay it. Now, here is what happens. Your employees qualify for redundancy pay if they've been with you continuously for 2 years or more, and they will get paid their redundancy, every single penny, from the Redundancy Payments Service. And the redundancy payments are calculated on things like age, length of service, and weekly pay. And it's normally between a week to a week and a half per year served, okay? Now, just so you know what the RPS is, it's the Redundancy Payment Service, and it's a government-funded scheme, and it covers these payments, and it steps in promptly in the event of a liquidation or administration. So when your staff are affected by liquidation, they are able to approach the Redundancy Payment Service, and they will pay out what they're owed. They'll not just pay out statutory redundancy pay, they'll also pay out something called notice pay. And this is basically in lieu if notice wasn't properly given. So your employee work contracts might say you have 12 weeks notice pay or 6 weeks notice pay. Now, the chances are when a company goes through an insolvency process, it's quite reactive. So it's like the directors might be thinking, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this, I just need this money to drop, I just need this refinance to happen. And then it's like the last minute, it's like, oh crikey, we're not going to be able to get through this. I need to speak to an insolvency practitioner. Now, the chances are you've not given your staff enough notice pay, enough notice, so they can then make the claim to the RPS for the notice pay that they're owed, okay? They're also going to be able to claim holiday pay, and this is essentially holidays that they've accrued but they've not taken. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, they can claim for unpaid wages for up to 8 weeks at £719 a week. Now, if you can understand what your employees can claim, it helps you reassure the team and hopefully reduce some of the stress on them, right? Now, you as a director, if this is a problem, this is a worry to you, the first thing you need to do is consult with an insolvency professional, right? Tell them what's going on. In fact, if this has hit a nerve with you, I want you to go down and I want you to click on the assessment tool at the top of the description box, and one of our team will actually get in touch with you and tell you exactly how we can help. Now, what I also want you to make sure is you've got clear, accurate and up-to-date employee records, because that will help you simplify the process with the insolvency practitioner if that's the route you're going down. And I want you to try and communicate transparently and frequently with the employees, okay? Because if you can explain to them what they can claim, reassure them about the process, and once you're speaking to an insolvency firm, if you speak to us, we will have someone dedicated to talk to your employees, and we'll also give them a really handy guide so they can understand what they're going to get paid, how long is it going to take, and what the actual process is, right? Now, if you follow best practice, it's going to help you to help them manage this stressful time, okay? Now, as a director who's sort of facing this, it's important that you understand what your responsibilities are, okay? And the first mistake that people make is they delay or they avoid communicating with staff about their payments, okay? And why this is so damaging, it's worse enough for your staff at the moment, okay? When they get told that they're going to be made redundant, any additional stress you give those people is going to be confusing for them, and it's really detrimental, and it can potentially delay them actually getting the government support. And obviously you're going to be seen as, well, I don't want to say it on camera, but it certainly risks your personal credibility and trust. So once you spoke to your insolvency professional, I mean, talk to them about this, but the minute that you know this is going to happen, it's a good idea to start informing employees immediately, okay? And the openness reduces confusion and it reassures them quickly. Now, the second mistake that I see people make all the time is failing to provide accurate and complete employee records to the insolvency practitioner. And why this mistake matters, it slows down the claim process significantly, and it can risk your staff having incorrect calculations and delays. So try and make sure that everything's accurate. Detail employee records is going to help you streamline the claims process. And again, it's about protecting your reputation and reducing the stress that your staff are feeling. Another mistake that I've seen made a lot is where a director makes preference payments to certain employees. Now, this is a mistake, and I get why people do it. They might have the favourites, you know, they might pay long-serving members or family members ahead of others. But why this is dangerous, it violates insolvency law and the thing called creditor equality rules. You've got to pay everybody equally. And this can actually cause you some serious risks personally. It's called a preference payment. So please be mindful. You've got to treat all employees equally during insolvency. Avoid making preference payments, okay? Now, I want you to know insolvency is super challenging and stressful, okay? But you can get a team around you who will help you through the whole process and navigate it transparently and responsibly. Your employees will be protected by the Redundancy Payment Service, and if you can understand your responsibilities and follow the right steps, you can handle something that's a really tough situation positively and comfortably. Now you've got two choices. One, do nothing, okay? Risk confusion, increased stress can cause potential issues for you, okay? Or you act immediately, seek professional help, get transparent communication with your employees, get someone to help you lighten that load and guide through this. Now, if you want a clear action plan for you, we are here to guide you every step of the way. You're not alone. We have helped thousands of directors navigate these issues clearly and successfully. So I hope you found the video useful. Chris Worden, Director First. And if you want to follow another video that's going to be interesting for you around employees redundancy in the RPS, I want you to go and click the link there. Thank you.